All right, this next one's going to be called Open the Eyes of My Heart, Lord. Sing it loud with me.
Welcome back to another edition of Fireside. We are here, you are here with Isaac, one of the deans of 5th and 6th grade camp, and Travis is taking the night off, so it's just me. Actually, we do every other night, so don't worry about it. He's still around somewhere. Anyways, hopefully your family's gathered around. Hopefully you're ready for a few more stories. I always love a good story, but especially when I'm like winding down, going to bed, it's good to have a good story. So today's theme was kind of the gospel, and hopefully that word was introduced to you. The word gospel literally means good news. And so, like, what is the good news? And so if I were to ask you at home, just take like 2 seconds, maybe 4 seconds, and tell somebody right next to you, what's the best news you've ever heard? Ready, go, you have 5 seconds. Is that 5 seconds? Okay, hopefully you did. Hopefully you had some good news. I have good news stories all throughout my life. I feel just super blessed when I really think about it. One of the very first good news stories I ever had was I was coming home as a 5th or a 6th grader in the spring. It was the last day of school, and I remembered riding my bike to my house. I lived 2 blocks away from the school, and I rode my bike home, and as I came down the big hill by our house, there was a red pickup truck in our driveway, and I could see it as I came down the hill, and I'm like, I have no idea whose truck that is. And I pulled in. I got in the house, last day of school, so you know how excited that is. And my mom looks me in my eyes and she goes, pack your bags, you're going to Colorado. What? And there standing right next to my mom was my aunt and uncle, Mark and Jordy, and I was going to Colorado. It was the last day of school, and I'm taking a road trip. I'm going to Colorado to see one of my favorite cousins. His name is Levi, and it was going to be awesome. So I packed a bag, I hopped in the car, and we set up, okay? And we drove and drove and drove and drove. From Minnesota to Colorado, it's like 22, 24 hours, and we drove and drove and drove. And I started to get tired, 11 o'clock at night, and I said to my Aunt Jordy, I said, can I just sleep anywhere? And she's like, actually, we have a mattress for you in the back. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, crawl through that little window right there. There's a little window behind the seats, and I crawled through the window and like got in the sleeping bag, the mattress, and when I was like, can this day get any better? Right? This is awesome. And when I woke up, we were in the mountains in the morning, and I was like, this is the best day of my life, you know? And so that was like one of the first times I remember having so much good news, like I felt like my head was gonna explode, okay? Now fast forward from 6th grade, I'm now in 9th grade. 9th grade, it's like January, and it's really cold. Like really cold out one day, and the phone rings. It's every kid's favorite phone call, or the radio comes on in the winter, and that is a snow day. But this one was special. The governor of Minnesota, his name was Arnie Carlson, I remember his name because he did this. He said there's no school today for any Minnesota schools. That was so awesome. That was great news. Okay? It's almost like when your school first got called off, like because of the COVID thing, okay? Some of you were genuinely excited, okay? But then eventually you were like, it's for bad reasons, okay? This was not so bad, okay? And I remember being like, that's the coolest governor ever. He called school off, all right? So that's some good news, all right? Another time I was in college and I walked into Walmart with my friend Jeremy, and there's all these fishing lures on sale, and they have these yellow tags on them. And we're like, what do the yellow tags mean? And the lady says to us, it means they're up to 90% off. And I was like, well, which ones are 90% off? She goes, any of them with yellow tags. Oh my goodness. So all of a sudden, every fishing lure we could see in Walmart was like 10 to 14 cents. And Jeremy and I just grabbed, Jeremy says to me, Ike, go get a cart. And I ran to the front of the store and I got a cart, and I got back there, and Jeremy's arms were already full of fishing lures. And he just started reaching to the back of the pegs that stick out, reach to the back, and he just grabbed off in the shopping cart. In the shopping cart, and I was like, this is the best news ever, 90% off fishing tackle. And we filled the cart with fishing tackle, and I think maybe to this day he still has some of that fishing tackle. He should maybe go fishing or give me some of it, all right? As you get older, some of the best news I ever got was my wife saying to me, hey, guess what? We're pregnant. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have a baby. All right, I know as you guys as 6th graders, you're like, wah, wah, babies, whatever. Okay, I get that, I was that way as a 6th grader. But when someone tells you you're about to be a father, like there's a human growing inside of your wife's stomach, that's some pretty amazing news. Some pretty amazing news. But the most amazing news at all, okay, was when I was about your age, a 6th grader, and I was sitting in the 2nd pew of Concord Church of Christ in Concord, Minnesota. 2nd pew would have been like right over there, all right? And I was sitting there, and a man named Kevin Kassler said these words. He said, even if you were the only person who walked on the face of this earth, Jesus still would have came and died for you. What? Really? If that's true, that really is true, then that should do something up here. That should mess with you a little bit. That should have some, not only feelings, but like, whoa, for me? Oof. That's heavy news, but that's good news. That's great news. I'm a sinner, okay? I'm sure all of you sitting there, I know this is true, have like things that you don't do well. Those moments where like Yeah, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I'm going to do this thing instead. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to clean my room, but I'm going to go outside and play. Yeah, I know I'm not supposed to just leave my plate where it is and just go outside. I know that I was supposed to feed the dog this morning, but I just didn't want to. I know that I'm not supposed to wear the same clothes 7 days in a row, but I just like this t-shirt. Okay? You all have things that you know that you're not supposed to do, or things that you are supposed to do, and you choose to do the opposite thing instead. That's called sin. It's just called sin. And Scripture talks about sin, and then God comes and sends His Son to save us from those sins. All right? And that's really good news. That's saving news. So that's the good news. Those are some good news about Ike and his story and his life. So as you have there in your Camp in a Box, if you're a Camp in a Box person, you have a bracelet, a little memento, a token of the good news, the gospel, and what that means. And that's to remind you that there's some really good news, and that's God's Son, Jesus, came and died for your sin. That's great news. That's great news. And He didn't stay dead. He rose from the dead. That's why we celebrate Easter. That's why it's such a big deal. All right? If you are one of the people that didn't get Camp in a Box, maybe go get a bracelet, write gospel on it. Maybe write it across your forehead backwards so you see it in the morning at the mirror. No, don't do that. It's a bad idea unless you do it in Sharpie. Okay, that's a double bad idea. Anyways, that's all I got. Again, sending you off in your families. Go ahead and pray with one another. Pray over all the good things you have and the best news you've ever heard, and that's Jesus loving you so much. Thank you. Have a good night. See you later.